start of India's relentless election season, there is stiff political campaign and it's getting hotter and hotter every day. A dark and sinister reality lurks beneath the daily churn of the news cycle. This isn't just another headline or a fleeting scandal. This is about Prajwal Revanna, a name that should echo in our collective consciousness for as long as possible, resonating as a chilling reminder of betrayal and exploitation at the highest levels of power. Power for many is tainted in this country. Majority of us aspire for power in life because हमें रुतबा चाहिए, शान चाहिए, but for thousands of women in Karnataka, Prajwal Ravanna's so-called powerful name signifies a deep-seated trauma, a violation of a breach of the sanctity of their lives under the guise of what we call political privilege, political power. This is not merely news. It's a stark exposition of the darkest corners of the human rights violations where political influence masks heinous acts against women. Here lies a narrative that demands not just our attention, but our outrage and action. In the whirlwind of Karnataka's election campaign, a scandal erupted with the potential to reshape political careers and, more critically, highlight the systemic abuses that lurk within corridors of power. Prajwal Ravanna, a JDS MP and grandson of former Prime Minister H.D. Deve Gowda, has been thrust into the limelight under the most damning circumstances imaginable. Just days before the crucial 26th April polling day in Hassan, a district that should have been buzzing with the usual electoral flavors was instead rocked by the distribution of numerous flash drives. These drives, reportedly recorded by Ravanna himself, contained over 2,900 videos and were distributed across his constituency, casting a long shadow over the impending elections. Local BJP leader G. Devaraja Gowda, who previously contested against Prajwal Ravanna's father in the Karnataka Assembly polls, has been a central figure in bringing these allegations to light. Devaraja revealed that he gained access to these incriminating videos through Prajwal's former driver Karthik Gowda, who was entangled in a legal battle against the Ravanna family. Devaraja's involvement unearthed a deep layer of political intrigue with allegations of serious misconduct and criminal charges against Prajwal Ravanna that could significantly impact the JDS and BJP alliance in Karnataka. In a letter addressed to the state BJP chief B.Y. Vijayendra earlier this year, Devaraja urged against nominating Prajwal for Hassan Lok Sabha ticket. He highlighted the severe implications of these allegations, suggesting that if JDS continued to support Prajwal, these videos could serve as a brahmastra, devastating the image of the BJP at national level. He warned that aligning with such a candidate embroiled in such a scandal would tarnish the BJP's reputation as aligning with the family of a rapist. Furthermore, Devaraja extended his concerns in a separate letter to Union Home Minister Amit Shah, cautioning him that the sex tapes could be weaponized by political opponents during the elections, potentially manipulating public perception and electoral outcomes. This proactive dissemination of information by Devaraj underscores the deep political calculations at play as leaders grapple with the potential fallout from the scandal. As the community reels from the shock and with the formation of a special investigation team to delve into the allegations, the political landscape of Karnataka, particularly in Hassan, remains fraught with uncertainty and tension. This scandal not only highlights the future or the career of Prajwal Ravanna, but also poses a significant challenge to the ethical and moral foundations of the political entities involved. Two critical questions emerge that call into question the motives and actions of key political figures in the unfolding of Karnataka sex scandal involving Prajwal Ravanna. The local BJP leader G. Devaraja Gowda, despite being privy to explosive allegations involving around 2,900 videos of alleged sexual abuse, chose a path that prioritizes political strategy over justice. His knowledge of the pen drive, coupled with his public denunciation of Ravanna as a rapist and subsequent communications with higher political leaders, raises an unsettling query. Why was the focus not on facilitating justice for numerous women allegedly exploited by Ravanna? Instead of leveraging his political influence to champion the rights and redress for the women, Devaraja's actions were confined to internal party advisories urging disassociation from Ravanna. This action or lack thereof speaks volumes about the prevailing culture within some political corridors where strategic alliances and potential electoral impacts often overshadow the fundamental principles of justice and accountability. Furthermore, the narrative thickens with accusations of political manipulation involving the pen drive. Karthik Gowda, Ravanna's former driver and the individual who first brought the pen drive to light, contends that his trust was betrayed by Devaraja Gowda. After turning to Devaraja for legal support against the Ravanna family, Karthik claims that his case was sidelined and his crucial evidence was misused for undisclosed purposes. This alleged betrayal not only complicates the legal pursuit but also highlights a grim pattern of misuse of trust and potential evidence in political charge scenarios. The situation is further exasperated by the reactions from top JDS leaders like GD Devegowda and HD Kumaraswamy, who appear more concerned with the timing and potential political ramifications of the scandal rather than the substance of these allegations themselves. Their calls for a thorough investigation, while necessary, also seem to underplay the gravity of the accusations, framing the discourse within a political context rather than a human rights catastrophe. This scandal, thus, is not merely a political debacle but a profound failure of our political entities to prioritize human dignity and justice over electoral calculations. The apparent indifference to the plight of the alleged victims until the scandal became politically inconvenient underscores a pervasive issue within our political systems. An issue where the lives and well being of individuals can be overshadowed by the game of power. As the saga continues to unfold, it becomes crucial for the public and watchdog entities to maintain a vigilant eye. The focus must remain steadfast on the pursuit of truth and justice, demanding accountability from all involved, irrespective of their political affiliations or positions. This is not just about one politician or one scandal. It is actually a litmus test for all our collective commitment to uphold the sanctity of justice and human rights in the face of political adversity. Here's how Prajwal Ravanna has tried to manage the fallout from the allegations of sexual abuse. June 2023, legal moves against media. Prajwal Ravanna took a significant step by filing a lawsuit against 86 media outlets and 3 private individuals. His goal was to stop them from spreading videos he claimed were fake and damaging to his reputation. He successfully obtained a court order on June 2nd, 2023, which temporarily halted the dissemination of these materials. December 2023, political concerns surfaced. As the scandal continued to simmer, Karnataka BJP leader Devaraja Gowda wrote to Home Minister Amit Shah. He expressed concerns that the allegations against Prajwal could be exploited politically, especially by the Congress party, to harm the BJP's image during the elections. Gowda highlighted the potential for significant political fallout from the scandal. Then comes the formation of the SIT. In response to mounting pressure and the seriousness of the allegations, the Karnataka government finally set up a special investigation team. This team was tasked with investigating the claims of sexual abuse and the authenticity of the video evidence. The SIT's role includes tracking down Prajwal if he attempts to flee the country and ensuring a thorough investigation. Police case filed. On a Sunday following the controversy, a police case was officially registered against both Prajwal Ravanna and his father H.T. Ravanna. The charges include sexual harassment and criminal intimidation based on a complaint from a former household worker. This marked a significant escalation in the legal proceedings against the Ravenna family. The stance of the JDS leadership has evolved significantly in response to the allegations against Prajwal Ravanna. While the former Karnataka Chief Minister and JDS leader H.D. Kumaraswamy has publicly stated that the party would not protect Prajwal, earlier statements from the party present a different tone. Before H.D. Kumaraswamy's statement on April 30th, 2024, the JDS response was more defensive, focusing on the timing of the allegations and suggesting political motivations behind them. K.S. Lingesh, the Hassan District Janata Dal secular president, explicitly accused the Congress leaders of targeting H.D. Ravanna for political reasons. At a press conference on April 30th, Lingesh claimed that they have booked the case against H.D. Ravanna as they are sure of losing the elections. Out of frustration, the Congress is taking on members of the former Prime Minister H.D. Devegowda's family. Lingesh further alleged that Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar had influenced the police to lodge a complaint against H.D. Ravanna, further politicizing the issue. In the swirl of accusations and shifting political statements surrounding the scandal involving Prajwal Ravanna, a critical detail stands out starkly: his departure from India to Germany amidst the unfolding controversy. This move raises significant question about oversight and accountability, particularly concerning how Ravanna was able to leave the country when under such serious allegations. Typically, in cases involving serious criminal allegations, particularly those with substantial public interest and potential international implications, authorities might impose travel restrictions on the accused to prevent them from fleeing their jurisdiction. However, in Ravanna's case, there appears to have been a notable absence of such measures. The oversight begs the question of whether there was a failure or a deliberate omission of duty on part of both the JDS and BJP, the parties involved in the unfolding scandal. The BJP is yet to publicly address the issue of Ravanna's departure. This silence is conspicuous, especially given the gravity of the charges against him and the potential implications for both the victims involved and the political entities connected to the case. The lack of transparency about how Ravanna managed to travel internationally suggests a possible lapse in administrative vigilance, or worse, a tactic allowance by those in power to let him evade immediate legal consequences. In a charged confrontation, the Congress party has taken a bold stance against Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP, accusing them of endorsing Prajwal Ravanna. They are saying that this has been done despite prior warnings about his alleged misconduct. The leader with whom the Prime Minister was seen sharing the stage, whom he endorsed warmly just 10 days ago, is now at the center of a devastating scandal. These were the questions that Priyanka Gandhi Vadra raised in one of her posts on Twitter. This is the man that the minister praised publicly and asked people to vote for him. Again, then, at a press conference, Congress spokesperson Supriya Srinithe presented a grim picture of allegations against Mr. Ravanna. She said that this man is accused of sexually assaulting women across all age groups, domestic workers, party workers, and even MPs. His actions have shattered the lives of women. Supriya Srinithe has further highlighted that BJP leader Devraj Gora had informed the BJP's top brass about Ravanna's actions as early as in December 2023. Despite these warnings, which were reiterated during a visit by Home Minister Amit Shah for alliance discussions, the BJP proceeded with endorsing Ravanna. So Srinithe has asked that on April 14th, not only did the Prime Minister share a stage with Prajwal Ravanna, he praised him and campaigned for him. How can we overlook the Prime Minister's contained support for individuals accused of such serious, heinous crimes? There are some pressing questions in light of these allegations. Why was Ravanna selected as a candidate despite the serious allegations against him? How did BJP and JDS leadership justify their decision in light of the detailed warnings they received from 2023? What steps will be taken to ensure accountability for Ravanna's subsequent flight to Germany? Will the Prime Minister address the public on this grave issue? These questions aren't just political, they're about justice and safety of our women. How can the victims feel safe coming forward when the accused is campaigned for by no less than the Prime Minister himself? Think about it, the BJP has proudly touted the dismantling of Gunda Raj as a hallmark of its governance, a regime where safety, particularly for women, was supposedly a guaranteed right, not a privilege. Yet here we are, staring at a grotesque display of power, wealth, and ruthlessness. Why is the ruling party so paralyzed by fear when it comes to taking responsibility? Why are they hesitating to stand by these women whose privacy has been brutally invaded and displayed in headlines like cheap tabloids? Scores of women across different walks of life, across state institutions, have been violated and abused under the watch of a Lok Sabha candidate. Ask yourself why numerous political leaders, already aware of what was lurking in those pen drives, chose silence over action. They knew, they saw the horrors contained in those drives, yet they chose to mute their voices, prioritizing electoral wins over human decency and justice. Is this the democracy you voted for? Is this the change you hope to see? This isn't some scripted drama that you're watching on Netflix or Amazon that you can pause or switch off. This is real, real lives ruined, real trust shattered. And amidst this storm, one question thunders with unbearable weight. Who allowed this man to become a Lok Sabha candidate? Who looked the other way when his name was penned on that ticket? The betrayal doesn't just lie with one individual, it's woven through the fabric of a party that shows political expediency over the basic rights and safety of its people. This matters to you because today it's these women. Tomorrow, the unchecked power that allowed this scandal to erupt for so long might hit closer to home than you ever imagined.